Let's go back to Steve, the Democrat, Washington, D.C. Now, Steve, you go ahead, and then I'll comment.
All right, I just said for you to demonize and tell the elderly and the poor and disabled to get up and work sounds a lot like Hitler's Germany when times were tough and people had
I knew you were an a-hole. I could tell. Did I tell the disabled to get up and walk? Are you a moron? Are you a shut up. I'm sick of people like you. Country's going to hell, and you come up and you think you're clever. Let me explain something to you, jerk. When the system collapses, it collapses on the elderly and the disabled and the young people. What jerks like you want us to do is to continue to tell young people to invest in a trust fund that doesn't exist, which your political friends stole money out of from the elderly to begin with. Now imagine it. Shut up. I don't need to listen to you. You need to listen to me. Pay attention. Maybe you'll learn something. In your case, you won't. You're a drone. But I'll use you as a foil. Imagine if people could have the money that they put into Social Security plus the money their employer put into Social Security, assuming they work for an employer and aren't self-employed, with compounded interest. Imagine how much money would have accumulated. Plus, when they pass away, they actually have that money to pass on to their children and their grandchildren. As it is today, there is no trust fund. The money's all gone. It's now subsidized by general taxes. And when you pass away, there's nothing to give to your children or your grandchildren. You jerk, and you're kind. You're the one who have screwed the elderly and the young people and the disabled and everybody else. Are you there? All right, get out of here. I have no desire. None to listen to that. They try to take the moral high ground. They run these Ponzi schemes and they try to take the moral high ground, that they care for the people, that they're compassionate. There's no point in having a discussion with him. He told my call screener, I'm going to hang up. Well, then hang up. What do I care? You called me. I wouldn't waste my time calling you. And I've said, I don't know how many more times I have to say this, but I guess a lot. People who are currently on Social Security and Medicare, they should continue to receive Social Security and Medicare, but we need to wean off future generations. The people on Social Security and Medicare were made promises by you liberals. You're so proud of them, and then you steal the money. You lie to people. You create these Ponzi schemes, which we conservatives have to then come in and try to address in a rational way. So why should somebody who's 25 years old, who's just starting out, still have to take their money and put it into a system where we know as a matter of fact that you're stealing the money? Now, everybody on Social Security and Medicare is not disabled. Everybody on unemployment is not disabled. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of people in this nation are not disabled. And yet the jerk brings up the disabled. You know, if we were only subsidizing people who were disabled, that is, mentally or physically, that would be one thing. But Obama wants to redistribute the wealth, spread the wealth. They're not focused on the disabled. They're focused on destroying the whole damn system. And when the whole system goes, the disabled and those who aren't disabled go with it. And that's the point. They always want to divide us. And here I speak the truth. And what did he compare it to? Nazi Germany, Mr. Is that what he said? What a friggin' moron. Mentally ill. I'm talking about telling the truth. Fiscal sustainability. He's advocating stealing money out of the Social Security system, and he compares what I'm talking about to Nazi Germany. That's how sick the left is. You piece of crap. You're lucky I didn't meet you face to face. And these are the people who are running this country. This is the mentality. They believe they stand on a moral high ground. They're not. They don't. They're immoral. What they do is immoral. And so they have to lie. Or they have to play word games. What they do is immoral. A commission appointed by Obama, loaded with liberals. The co-chair just said, this is cancerous. Our society is going to be destroyed from within. And this idiot doesn't get it. He'll be turning around one day. What happened? What happened? They promised us this. What happened? I thought that. Because you're a schmuck. You're a drone. I don't care how many degrees you have. I don't care what background you have. You haven't learned anything. Because you're exactly what I say you are. And unfortunately, there are millions and millions of people just like you. Now, 2008, David Walker, then the Comptroller General of the United States, this is from Liberty and Tyranny, reported that the total burden in present value dollars, Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicaid, on future generations is about $53 trillion. Where's that money coming from? They already stole it all, so where's it coming from? He added, imagine we decide to put aside and invest today enough to cover these promises tomorrow. It would take approximately $455,000 per American household, or $175,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. Do you have that money? No, you don't have that money. Medicare and Medicaid spending alone threaten to consume an untenable share of the budget and economy in the coming decades. The federal government has essentially written a blank check for these programs. And yet, when you acknowledge this and you're trying to figure out what to do about it, it's like Nazi Germany. Fecal head. Walker closed his report with this ominous declaration. Budgets, deficits, and long-term fiscal and economic outlooks are not just about numbers. They're also about values. It's time for all Americans, especially baby boomers, to recognize our collective stewardship obligation for the future. In doing so, we need to act soon because time is working against us. We must make choices that may be difficult and unpleasant today to avoid passing an ever greater burden on future generations. Let us not be the generation that sent the bill for its conspicuous consumption to its children and grandchildren. He's a little wrong there, Walker. It's the government that stole the money and is writing the bills to the next generation. People are just expecting what they've been promised by a bunch of liars. And they've created this untenable situation. And any time you try to address it, or even explain it, you get morons like Steve from Washington, D.C. It's like Nazi Germany. No, you fool, it's like the Weimar Republic, which led to Nazi Germany, which is a national socialist regime. Get it? They didn't have an unfettered free market. They didn't have a constitution like we do, divided and balanced powers. No, it was very centralized, the way you guys keep promoting government. Centralized, authoritarian, unelected people over time dictating how you can live, what you can eat, what you can drive, where you can be. Sound familiar, Steve? Isn't that your utopia, Steve? Oh, and the disabled, under that kind of a regime, they don't have a chance. We know that from history, Steve. Just another fool. Another fool that doesn't learn from history or experience. Just rationalizes his ends, regardless of the means. But I thought it was important you hear a guy like this, because there's millions of them. Millions of them.